coming up.
So,
can you tell us a little bit more about your experience as a teacher? Because obviously this is the fruit of a tree that you have been taking care of for many, many years. Like, it's not like one day you said, I'm just gonna do this. And no, like there is all of this path, talking about the path, no? There's this path that you have been walking on for many years. And I think that in a way, this book is like a compendium, so to say, of many things that you know, making it super simple and super accessible for the modern person. And even those who have no idea about Kabbalah, this is a good first approximation to Kabbalah. Hello, Synchronauts. How are you? It's very nice to have you today. Today is, we're recording, Mike and I, it's February the 9th, 2024. And this is a special program because today we are not going to talk about what we're normally talking about here at our Elysian Roundtable, but today we're talking about Mike's new baby. Welcome, Mike. How are you?
it is. Thank you so much. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
We're very excited about this baby. So you are going to well, it's already published, or it's like almost out of the oven. The bun is almost out of the oven. You have written this book with Watkins in the UK. So we're going to talk about precisely this book, which is, you have it behind you, and well, I have my copy here. It's called Paths on the Tree of Wisdom. It's a course in 21st Century Kabbalah. So we're going to talk about this book and obviously talk a little bit more about you, because it's interesting. In the series of videos that we have been recording, we talk about specific topics, but we really haven't talked about you. So today it's about you and this new project, and also past projects, getting to know more about you and what has brought you to this particular book. So I don't know if there's anything you want to say before we hop on to the amazing presentation that you have prepared for us.
No, not really. No, it's just maybe it's good to highlight that indeed I hardly talk about myself. And it's not because I want to be private or I don't want to expose myself, but there's a saying within the teaching of the mysteries that it's not about the teacher, it's always about the teaching. So I'm not central to everything. But it doesn't mean that I wouldn't like to tell a bit more about my own background, which explains something about the book and how it came about.
Yeah, so, and I have to mention something very important, because I've learned so much from you. And one of those things, and this is a tip that I am sharing with everybody watching, how do you recognize a good teacher? Just what Mike said. When the teacher is talking about the teachings are central to their narrative, because it could be a woman or a man teaching you, doesn't really matter. But when they center everything around the teaching and not their own selves, then you know you have a really good teacher. If not, because especially in Latin America and in all of these particular studies, kinds of studies, we have what we call in Spanish yoísmo. Yo means I, like I do this, I do that, and it's permeated all over the place. So that can tell you so much about what the important thing is for the person who is sharing the information with you. So when they make it about the teachings and not themselves, then you know you're in good hands. No, that's a safe space. So I just wanted to also share that, because it's very refreshing, no, when you are in the pursuit of knowledge and gaining consciousness. We are very vulnerable at those moments when we are trying to understand creation, our place in creation, who we are, what's our purpose. And sadly, some people take advantage of that. And obviously, that's not the case with you at all, in my experience. And also, the experience that many of your students we've had with you throughout the years, which you will talk about in a moment. Yeah. But it also reflects the importance to know that a teacher is also human. A teacher goes through the same ordeals that anybody else does, no? And it could be any kind of teacher, like from Jesus to Buddha, to doesn't really matter. When you see the humanity in the teacher, then you can connect easier. And something that I really appreciate about your work is that it's super practical, and you always recognize that humanity, no? When there are other like gurus, no, or so-called teachers that are like, no, I am the best. This is the path, and only this path is the correct one, and the other ones are wrong, or they're going to go to hell. Like
Mm.
these kinds of things, which are very dangerous. And I think it has to do also with the fact that you have a very scientific background, no, that helps you also
Mm.
keep in check whatever you are sharing or teaching or studying. So that's nice. And also the way, and this book is talking about it, but also your other two books about Kabbalah and science, you are showing us this path of merging science, like a scientific
Mm.
background, with a spiritual one in a way that makes sense. No, this is not like we are
Mhm.
not hallucinating things, or we're not just like imagining things, but you can
Mhm.
see there is a balance between them, and they complement each other. And we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So the fact that you are teaching us through your books, through your different activities in Europe, because you are present actually right now in like in two different countries, you will tell us about it. It doesn't matter if it's like face to face, no, virtually,
Mhm.
like we are doing it right now, or with your
Mhm.
videos or your books.
Yeah.
You're keeping that line of thought, no, that path on the middle pillar, on the pillar right in the middle of the tree of life. So I appreciate that a lot. And now I'm gonna shut up because I'm super excited about this program and sharing everything that you are teaching. So if you want, let's begin. I'm gonna move on to the presentation
Please.
now that you have prepared
Mm.
for us. And so here we are. This is I remember the first time that I saw the the um, the cover for the book. I was like, it looks very simple, no? But
Mm.
as I said, don't judge a book by the cover, because once you have it in your hands, like the effect of it, the hot stamping effect, and it's like so cool. I really like it. So can you tell
It
us a
worked
little bit?
out very well.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration of the name? Like, how did this book come about? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes. Well, of course, when you self-publish your own books, which I did in the
Yes.
past, you have your own saying, the layout, and the images and the title. So that's quite a process to go through. And of course, the front cover needs to represent the content of the book as much as possible.
Yeah.
Um, so in a sense, what we try to do is to make a course for the 21st century Kabbalist, the starting Kabbalist. At the same time, it's also uh, very much a book for the more advanced Kabbalist, somebody who's well on his or her way. Um, so we were looking for a layout or an image that would, yeah, just represent something that is much more simple in a way, and with not much too fluffy things and or exciting stuff on it, but a very delicate print and open to everyone. And and the title, "The Paths on the Tree of Wisdom," was not that easily chosen. Of course, first of all, we have the Tree of Life, the image at the center. That's quite obvious in most Kabbalah traditions and lineages, and which consists of the 32 paths of the Tree of Life, and or sometimes called the Etz Chaim, or the 32 paths of wisdom. So
Mm.
this is like a compilation of all these different ideas of the Tree of Life coming together in one title, Paths on the Tree of Wisdom. Um, and apart from paths on the diagram itself, it's of course all to do with the path of the individual Kabbalist itself. So your individual life is your path, and
Exactly.
the Tree of Life helps you to guide you on your way and the principles within it. So the word path is a very important word here.
Yes,
Yes.
because it has like a manifold meaning. On the one hand, as you say, it's
Mm.
talking about the actual paths on the tree of life, but also each of our own path, which is very individual. And we talk a lot about it here on the Elysian Roundtable.
Yeah.
Nobody can walk the path for you, and you have your own space
Mhm.
within the tree. And
Yeah.
you're not supposed to be wanting or longing for the path or the space of another. You have your own. And I think that a big crisis that is going on in humanity right now is precisely that we
Mm.
want to we want to be another, we want to copy what another
Mm.
people are doing with what others are doing, and that's like that's not how it's supposed to be. No, you have your own path, and
No.
in order to discover that, Kabbalah gives us a very good framework to do that
Mm.
inner work and to find out, that it takes, I don't know, I would
Exactly.
dare say that not one life, but it takes many
Mm.
lifetimes to figure things out. uh,
For most of
because
us, yes.
yeah, like creation is so complex, and we're evolving and we're changing,
Mm.
and all the challenges that
That's
being
it.
incarnated brings, no.
Yeah, it is. And then, of course, the subtitle, of course, in 21st Century Kabbalah, um, that's the big challenge because there are many books on Kabbalah as an introduction or a course, and there are so many ways to get it done. So there's not one good or perfect way.
Exactly.
So this is just another way of trying to get the principles across to the minds and hearts of the reader in a way that it can be understood for the psyche of today, the world of today.
Yeah,
And that's what I try to do here with also, I think, accessible exercises and meditations. So every chapter has its own meditation or exercise, which you can do not just in meditation, but a lot of these exercises can be done in daily life.
that's
So
what I like. It's
truly
so
active life.
practical. Yeah,
Yeah,
super
that's what
super
is important.
practical, and you can do these practices on your own, or you can invite other people to join. It's
Certainly,
like,
yeah,
yeah, it's very flexible
yeah,
that way. Do you want me to
yeah.
continue with the next slide?
Yes, please do, because
Okay.
there you have a more lively picture, almost, almost 3D. And yeah, here you see it again, a bit more shiny. And there you see the publication date. The official date is next Tuesday. However, there was already a pre-ordering from, I think it was November or December of last year.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people have ordered it and also already received it. I
Ah,
think
that's nice.
some places all over the world. Yeah, so it's not that they just wait until the 13th of February, but Watkins also, uh, well, delivers already.
That's good. And
So this
also,
is
I have to say that because obviously Watkins is in the UK, but you can, if you're living in other parts of the world, like I am,
mm,
I live in Mexico. I checked
yeah,
it out, and you can get it, for example, from Amazon. So that's really good. Like,
mm,
if you want
yeah,
this book, like there are many people selling it, not just Watkins, right?
exactly. Yeah, Amazon all over the world, or Waterstones, Barnes and Nobles. I think almost in every, at least continent, and most countries. I've seen it for sale on websites that I can't read.
Wow, that's
So
nice.
yeah, in Sanskrit or in Polish. So it's everywhere, so to speak. Yeah.
That's
So
really good. Uh-huh. Well,
it is.
there you have
Yeah.
it. Like, so you can order it. You can go to Watkins' website directly. You can go to Amazon or any of these other big booksellers all over the world,
Yes.
and you can order yours already, and you will get it like very fast because it's already like it's there. No, like you can just
It's
order
there.
it and it's gonna come to you really fast. Okay. Um.
Exactly.
So
So
can
yeah.
you tell us a little bit more about your experience as a teacher? Because obviously, this
Mm,
is the fruit of a tree that you have been taking care of for many
mm,
years. Like, it's not like one day you said, I'm just going to do this. And no, like, there is all of this path, talking about the path, no?
yeah.
There's this path that you have been walking on for many years. And I think that in a way, this book is like like a compendium, so to say, of many things that you know, making it super simple and super accessible for the modern person. And even those who have no idea about Kabbalah, this is a
Yeah,
good first approximation to Kabbalah. So, can you tell us a little bit more
that
about
should be.
your experience as a teacher? Like,
Yes.
how did you come in touch with Kabbalah for the first time? And yeah, so tell us more,
Yeah,
please.
well, indeed, here we go. Starting with the Hermetic Kabbalah, I
Yeah,
was part of more like an occult organization in the 90s and beginning of this millennia, which was called the Golden Dawn or Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And it's just like a semi um, Hermetic order or Masonic order. I'm
yeah,
not a Mason, by the way, I never was. But anyway, I was involved in the last, at that time at least, order in Holland. And one of the disciplines in the curriculum of the Golden Dawn is Kabbalah. But in particular, this stream of Kabbalah, Hermetic, coming from the Greek teachings, books like the Corpus Hermeticum and Asclepius for people who know these texts or are interested in it. Um, it's like quite an intellectual, I would say, form of Kabbalah. And this tree that you see here is like almost like a library or filing system of the 10 Sephirot, the 10 circles, and the lines or paths in between the 22 lines. And in it is an enormous amount of information.
yeah,
It can be much more. And the
yeah,
Hermetic Kabbalah stashed uh, all kinds of different ideas, elements, and symbols in it, like the 22 letters, like the tarot cards, astrological symbolism, elements, and archetypes, what have you. It's all there.
yeah.
And that is really an interesting way of looking at the tree of life.
It is.
Uh,
Yeah.
but it is still quite intellectual and quite cognitive. It's like you have
Yes.
to remember it and you learn what the tree of life is all about and the different emanations or the Sephiroth, again, the circles, what they really represent. And me, I was extremely fascinated by all this. But my intuition told me uh, this tradition goes much deeper. There's so much more within it.
Yeah.
So I was missing the mystical element in it.
Yeah.
And at the end of my career at the Golden Dawn, I was done with the magical path, so to speak. I'm saying this with some emphasis. It was my end of the Hermetic way, so to
Yes.
speak. So it's not that it's not right or not good, but it was time for me to leave that path.
Yeah, you had
And
outgrown it. Your soul wanted more,
for
something
me,
different. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So I wanted to go more in depth. And then what you can see on the next slide is I was also investigating the so-called Christian Kabbalah. Um, Not that I was so much into Christianity at all. I'm, raised as a Roman Catholic, but in a very loose way. But I was always fascinated by the archetype or the legend of Christ. So here you see a suggestive image of the tree of life. You can see the outlines there and the archetype or whatever it is, the image of Christ. Very suggestive here.
Yeah.
And you can see that the Hermetic Kabbalah is spelled with a Q and this one with a C.
Yeah.
That's because most of the Christian Kabbalah, its writings are coming from Italy.
Ah.
Like Pico Mirandola and
Ah.
some of the other people in the cities like Florence, a lot of Kabbalah was flourishing there, but they
Yeah.
all try to integrate the Kabbalah teachings with Christianity and not to actually to empower Christianity much more than change Christianity into Kabbalah. So that was all fine and all nice, but I was still not satisfied with what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And so I was looking on it for it. This was around 19 I think 99, around that year, or maybe a year earlier. And so I found, simply enough, as a lot of people do this time, I found the Kabbalah Society on the internet. And I directly called to this, I didn't think person, but anyway, I think it was an institute, the Kabbalah Society in London.
Yeah.
And this gentleman, I got on the phone directly. He said, well, if you're interested in Toledano Kabbalah, you could come over if you like. I'm giving a particular lecture in Regent's College. And that was the next day.
You are living in the UK at this moment?
No, I was living in Holland. So I drove over.
Wow.
Took the ferry that same day, and I was at Regent's College. And
wow.
and that was really some very particular and very important moment for me, not just to meet the man, but also to meet this particular form of
tradition.
Kabbalah. Yeah, exactly. And I will tell you why. And this really highlights my path, but also as a golden thread through the whole book, is what Halevi told me, or taught me, I have to say, is Kabbalah is truly a universal, inclusive teaching.
I agree.
And it contains or encompasses really everything in the Tree of Life and another diagram that he delivered unto the world, which was Jacob's Ladder, or the extended Tree of Life.
Which we will see later on in the presentation, because you made your own Jacob's Ladder. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. Exactly. That's it. So I had I can say, a very good, friendly relationship with Halevi. And this was the basis, really, of my own Kabbalistic life, and also the way that I gradually became a tutor or teacher in my own right, and a writer. So this is eventually where my path leaded onto, and this particular Toledano Kabbalah tradition.
And you also told me that he encouraged, actually, no? He encouraged not only you, but other students to write about Kabbalah and other topics. Is that correct?
Very much. He said that his life's task or purpose is to teach teachers.
Yeah.
So to bring into the world people who are willing to take on the job of a Kabbalah teacher on their own level, in their own way, and that's what he did, and also encourages people to write books.
Yeah. I'm gonna disappear for a moment, but I'm still here.
Yeah.
Do you want me to continue with the next slide so that you can continue telling more about what are your experiences at, because one thing is being the student, but now you're the teacher. Can you tell us a little bit more about it, please? Sure.
Yeah. So here we have a picture of a place in the UK, which is called Hawkwood College in Stroud, which is in the Cotswolds. It's a beautiful area, very green. And it is here where Halevi started to teach for probably more than 30 years. It was like a summer school or a retreat, whatever you want to call it. When I joined this, it was in 1999 as well, the first one. It was like 5 days in a row from Monday to Friday. It was international. A lot of people joined here. Really, some people came from Australia or Japan, South America, the US, Europe, of course. And it was really a beautiful setting. I think he really laid the foundation, not just in London and through his books, but also in this place, where so many people joined, and also teachers or potential teachers joined to refresh their knowledge or in tune again to the particular teachings of this school.
Yeah. And Hawkwood College, it's very famous for exactly for being like a place for many different teachers of different traditions to come and share, no, like John Matthews, Caitlin Matthews, and other people that are in those parts
Yeah,
of different traditions, but they all converge in that place, no? So it's very famous for that, right?
exactly. It's an old anthroposophical institute, so to speak.
Yeah.
So an old Steiner building, you could say. And so it has attracted a lot of different disciplines, not just spiritual, but also cultural, the arts. So a lot of beautiful things are going on there all the time, definitely.
Yeah.
And Kabbalah was one of them. Yeah. So he was teaching here until 2017 or 18, I believe. And prior to the summer school, there was always a workshop of 2 days about tree building or Kabbalah and astrology,
Oh,
done by two other people. And somehow fate directed me into the office one day of Hawkwood College, where this gentleman told them that he was actually stopped doing the workshops. So there was like a vacancy. And well, the manager of Hawkwood College immediately asked me, is this something for you to do? So not
wow.
doing the whole Kabbalistic summer school, of course, that was for Halevi and his successors who are still running that. Currently in another facility, not in Hawkwood College, but nevertheless. So from 2017 on, I started to teach there the workshop.
So you
And
were offered this, like it was destiny brought you there somehow.
exactly, I was not looking for it, but honestly, I was, of course, like almost dreaming about it, say, oh, that would be a great thing. I was
Yeah.
teaching a little bit in Holland, in different places, little workshops or introductions, and I thought that would be nice. And Halevi told me once that he encouraged me actually. He said, if you want something like this, you should ask for it, in the sense of ask the universe, and it will be provided. He was very certain about it and very confident, much more than I was. And I didn't see it happen, but it did happen eventually, and again on my own level.
Yeah.
So, and this is again a picture of this classroom here. It's a
It's
beautiful facility.
interesting. I just want to mention it's interesting how the teacher, because of the experiences they have, no, they are so confident about stuff. And you as a student, because that happens between you and me as well, no, just like freaking out with stuff, and you're like, no, everything will
Yeah.
be okay, no. And I see that also that happened to you with Halevi. So it's nice
Mm-hmm.
to have that mentorship, no, to say like when I am maybe I am wondering or faltering in my faith, the teacher
Yes.
knows, no, because the teacher has been through the paths of the tree of life. So that's nice. Do you want me to
Most of the
continue
time, yes.
with the next slide? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, sure. No, go on, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Halevi said it in his own way. He often said, I am just a week ahead of you, he said
Yeah.
to the students. That's a very humble way of saying, I have just maybe a little bit more knowledge or a little bit more experience on this path. So, yeah.
Yeah. But I also tell you, like when you tell me this thing, I say, yeah, but what a week. Like there's kind of an interesting week, no? Even though it's
Yeah, it's
only a
very
week
interesting
ahead of
week
me.
indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, I know, I know. Yeah, that's why I always say, I transmit these teachings on my own level, and I'm not trying to imitate anyone. It
As you
doesn't
should.
do anyone any good.
Of course.
So everyone has to do it on its own terms and realize very well, where are you at this very moment in
Exactly.
your own spiritual evolution. And I think very important in Kabbalah is what you have experienced is mainly what you can teach, because other things are theory and speculation, which is
Yeah.
okay, but then realize that what you're teaching is like scholarly knowledge,
But
which
it can
is
be
very
dangerous
good.
as well because that can give space to the ego thing that I was telling about a few minutes ago.
It
So you
may,
have to
yes.
connect with experience and with the heart. You cannot talk
Mhm.
about something that you haven't experienced. Like as you
Yeah.
say, it's all empty. So I think
Mhm.
that's another very important tip for everybody.
Mhm.
And teaching
Yeah.
actually is the best way of learning, but sometimes you
Very
can
much.
only teach about what you know.
Exactly. Very good point there.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what I always try to do, whether in direct teaching, so the oral tradition from mouth to ear, but also through the book. I try
Yeah.
to, be a guide through the book and try to facilitate an experience to the reader or the listener,
Yeah.
um, which, of course, you can never guarantee, but that's what I'm trying.
Yeah. Because
So,
like whatever you write or whatever you put out there, it's gonna have a life of its own, and who knows where it will get, no? And you can
yes.
offer this like
Mm.
amazing banquet, no, of knowledge, but people will choose what they want to take, and what they will take and how they will integrate it in their life. So it's really out of your
Yes.
hands, but you're doing it as a service to source, as a service to God, or however you want to call it.
Mm.
You're inspired to do that. And yeah, so
Yeah.
that's also interesting, the letting go, no, like saying, okay, this is my service, and I'm not
Mm.
attached to an outcome. I'm just offering it, and let's see what happens. And that's where magic happens
Exactly.
also, no?
Yeah, or even the miraculous. Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it's a good thing that you say it because my idea with my first self-published books, we will see that in another image, is that it was really meant to preserve and to transmit and to contain as much as possible the teachings, the tradition. So it was, and still is not a very commercial enterprise at all. It's
No.
just to make sure it's manifested, it is materialized again in the world.
Yeah.
And basically, although this publication with Watkins is but a little bit more of a commercialized initiative, but still for me personally, uh, it's not with the aim of making a lot of money. It's really, again, for me, it has a spiritual purpose primarily.
Definitely. Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely.
Yes. So a picture here, just to show you my own classroom, so to speak, with the beautiful sun coming in.
Yeah.
This is actually the room where I'm sitting at the very moment, but you can't see it. And gradually over the years, as I had some experiences outside of the Kabbalah, like I said, the Golden Dawn and some other um, lodges and organizations within the Western esoteric tradition. Um, there were a few things that really clinged on to me, to my soul, to my heart, like Kabbalah. And I said, this is so beautiful. It really belongs to me. And I don't want to let it go.
Yeah.
And so the other two things outside of Kabbalah was the myth of the round table and the mystical ways of Christ. Let's put it that way. So the School of the Soul, or what I say, Circle of Avalon, is actually based upon three principles. That is Toledano Kabbalah and Round Table mythology and the ways of the teachings of Christ, which is actually like a little church called the ASA, the Apostolic Succession of Arimathea. Now, these are different disciplines, but they also can be combined together very easily, very well.
They converge,
Um,
actually. They complement each other, definitely.
exactly. Yeah. You know this, you have experience with it. Um, but anyway, I just wanted to mention this. This is not, of course, so much important now in this podcast that we're doing, which is about the book. But nevertheless, it's part of what I'm doing. And so here you have another uh, image of the classroom just before everything is starting. And it's here where the people gather every 2 weeks in Holland. So this is a live in-person gathering. And here is where I uh, teach the pure Toledano Kabbalah as it was transmitted to me. But I'm always open to also highlight and show like you can see in the background, the Hermetic Kabbalah tree, is that there are reasons why you can highlight or explain where certain things come from. You get these questions.
Of course.
Without any doubt as a teacher. And people have read books about the Hermetic Kabbalah. And then it's, of course, more than nice that you can have an answer to these questions, to know the differences between the different streams.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Huh? Should I go on? Yeah?
Yeah, sure, please do. And so here you have a picture, just one of them, also made in Holland. This is one of the invitations that I regularly get from Freemasons lodges, which are interested in Kabbalah because of, well, the inherent background, actually, of the Solomon's Temple, which is, we could say, based upon Kabbalistic teachings.
Yeah.
So this is another beautiful thing that I can sometimes reintroduce, especially, again, the Toledano Kabbalah, to these groups. And often they remember, or they again see where their rituals or ceremonies, their etiquettes, etc., where they actually are being built upon, which metaphysical foundation. and it does the job. So yeah, and another one, of course, in the next slide, you can see this is one of the workshops that I did in the Library of Avalon in Glastonbury in the UK, a place where I very much like to gather with people. It's very small, very intimate, but it's a very nice place to come. And especially, of course, in Glastonbury, which is like a spiritual center in the UK.
It is, yeah.
Yes, definitely. There are enough spiritual practitioners, serious people, who are looking for this kind of knowledge. And so I often come there to do a book presentation and workshops. And of course, I will do a book presentation about this current book on the 9th of March next month in the Library of Avalon. So I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Okay, you want me to continue? Yeah, okay.
Yes, please. Yeah. So here you have my two former works, self-published in the US through an organization called Ingram Spark. But again, they put the book or your manuscript out in the world, but you have to do all the work, which is, of course, not per se a problem. This is really based, again, on the Toledano Kabbalah in relation to, excuse me, certain scientific topics like quantum physics and biology, neuroplasticity. The first book on the left, I published it in 2019, and a few years later, the second edition in 2022.
And we are currently working on the translation to Spanish of this one.
Very importantly.
Yes.
Yeah, you did a wonderful and great job.
We're getting there. Yeah.
We are getting there. It's very likely that the Spanish version will be published also this year.
This year, yes.
Very likely.
Fingers crossed. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, because, you know, there's a lot of people that are looking for this information in the Spanish-speaking world. And there are few people really teaching from this perspective. And I've shared your work with a lot of people I know here in Mexico. Yeah. They're like, I don't speak English. I'm like, I will have to translate it for you then. And then that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so it's really wonderful. So I'm very grateful for this because, like I just said, this is really coming from a spiritual intention, not so much from a wish to write a bestseller, to earn a lot of money. And sometimes you have to find people who are of the same heart and mind like you, because I would like to, of course, have a whole office of people with translators. But of course, if you can't afford it, sometimes you need to meet people who want to do this and they feel the same about the tradition and take this initiative. So that's really
Yeah,
wonderful.
people who will believe in the same thing that you're doing, that they
Mhm.
have also the capacity, because
Yes.
I've worked as a translator for other kinds of groups, like for the 13 moon calendar, for peace based on the Galactic stream. I've done translation for them, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's a bit hard to do the translation. Well, it's very hard
Mm.
because you have to know about what you're talking about and you have to know about the language. And sometimes,
Yes.
and it happens with your books as well, and also those books of Jose Arguelles, who is another one of my teachers, that
Mm.
because you're talking about things that are so mystical and so what's the word? I don't even have the word to describe it, no?
Mhm.
It's so subtle, no? It's so mystical, it's so ineffable because you
Yeah.
cannot express it. Then you're like,
Mm.
Jesus Christ, how do I say this in this other language? How do I
Language.
express it? Or even in your own language, like,
Mm.
how do I define this process or this thing? So
Yeah.
you have to create your own new language. And Arguelles did that.
Mm.
And I think that in your books that kind of happens as well, where you have to, because you're defining the something that cannot be defined. No, it's like you want to talk about the Tao, but if you
Yeah.
talk about the Tao, then it's not the Tao anymore. How do you keep the Tao being the Tao without talking about the Tao? No, something like that.
Exactly.
So
And Spanish is a very rich language, so
it
we
is
really had to make an effort to find the right words to express what the Kabbalah is saying, not just in the English version, but in
exactly.
general. What does the Kabbalah say about it? Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a challenge to find, and we were lucky enough, and I say I am lucky enough because I
Mm.
am benefiting so much from doing this work, and I also do it as a service to the tradition. Uh, but it takes a lot of effort, no? Like, but it also takes like the right people to come along who have that
Yeah.
ideal that we're not doing this for money. I mean, if the
Yeah.
money comes, that's good because we can use it to keep on expanding this, no?
Mm.
But we're doing it because we believe in it and we have the capabilities because yes, definitely not everybody is suited to do this kind of service. So
No.
and we see the need for this, and I've told you about this before, because there are teachers talking about Kabbalah, but really not in the Toledano Kabbalah. It's not really um, out there in Spanish. Like it's very
Mm.
limited, and so it's good that we're expanding uh, what Halevi did. I didn't
Mhm.
have the opportunity to meet him because when you and I met, he had just passed away, I think, something like he had just. So I don't know him,
Mm.
or I didn't know him personally, but through your books and your teachings, he's also
Mhm.
my teacher. And whomever
Yeah,
buys any
he's.
of your books
Mm.
also can say, well, I'm in this lineage, no, where
Mm.
Mike is my teacher and Mike's teacher was Halevi, and therefore he's part also
Yeah,
of my spiritual family, which is
exactly.
beautiful. It's a privilege, I would say.
Yeah. Well, that's how I feel at the same time. Yes, exactly. So, yeah, and yeah, so this is a wonderful work, and this is also available all over the world through the same online
Yeah. You can get
sellers
it on
like
Amazon
Amazon,
for
etc.
sure. Yeah.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
So
is also a good basis of the books that I've read or written, excuse me, um, and a little bit of this information is also in the new book. So in the last chapter, the
yes.
final chapter, I highlight a few of these things, a few of these principles therein. Of
Yes,
course, because
because
it's about the contemporary times.
and also like these are more specialized. We've talked about your books before here in our
Yeah.
programs, and these are more specialized. So if you have no idea about quantum physics and know a little bit about Kabbalah, you might understand some things. But
Yes.
really, if you are a beginner, then this book is good, and you have a little bit of those two books, no, here, so you can start
In
the
there.
approximation to that. So yeah, that's really good.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, let's see what the next picture has in store for us. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, here we have another example of teaching in, this is in Holland. There are, like a lot of countries here in the West, a lot of Christian communities, Protestant communities of all variations.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, this is in a part of Holland called the Bible Belt, so which is quite strict, very conservative. But a
Okay.
few little communities are like free Protestant churches, and they are open to basically everything. So Buddhists who come to teach, or Zen, Kabbalah, Sufism. So I am coming here for a long time, and here you see in the left picture me doing the Kabbalistic invocation, lighting the candles in the form or the shape of the tree of life on the table before me. There are 10 little lights in a tree of life. So this is another example of the things that I love to do, is to make the teachings known to other people. They can see the beauty of it, and adopt it if they like to in their own path or in their own ways. And that's exactly it. Now, I would like to emphasize, here you have Hawkwood College again. You see, until now, you see on the left side and the right side, this is last year actually, in September. I did my workshop there, a seminar, and about the Tree of Life. You can see I lay it out on the floor, and then using chairs so that people can actually go through the Tree of Life physically and sit in the different positions of the tree, which is for most people really an experience. And
It is. I can imagine. Yeah.
yeah, so the last weekend of April this year, I'm going to be there again and going to give another seminar based upon the new book, of course. So,
Yeah.
and there in the middle, you see the front of the house. So a really, really beautiful, serene place to do these kind of things. Yeah. So one of the things also included is the possibility to make your own tree or extend the tree here, Jacob's ladder,
Yeah.
which is an art in itself to make it. There's a whole procedure how to make it. You start often with white canvas, you paint it black. That's the background that's often called Ayin Ein Sof, and then on it, existence is gradually unfolding through your own hands, and the four worlds are coming alive on that blackness of the surface of the canvas in the background.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is also done in a workshop, as you can see. I am standing here, but it was a workshop with I think about 5 people,
That's
and
cool.
they learned how to make their own, or Tree of Life or Jacob's Ladder. And it takes really about 2 full days or 2.5 days to complete this.
Yes, because like it's massive to begin with, no, and the
Mm.
detail also that you have to pay attention to the proportions, the colors, and the information as well. And
Yes,
this is a gift from Halevi to the world, Jacob's ladder, right?
definitely. It's really, I'm very grateful for it. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of people are, because it has brought so much more to the Kabbalah tradition, so much more clarity
Yeah.
to the so-called 4 worlds and how they are integrated. I mean, it's in the beginning, it's a bit tricky and a bit difficult to get into it. But when you persist and you get into it, it really delivers the fruits on the tree, and it's a beautiful gift. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, um, here we have another quite recent launched workshop, which will be after my Hawkwood College teaching, Monday the 29th of April in London, in a well-known institute for English people, the College of Psychic Studies, which has a lot of very interesting workshops and courses. So was asked through Watkins to also do a day here.
Uh-huh.
So whoever is interested in it or wants more information, then please let me know. And we will talk about how to contact me or
Yeah. As
contact
usual,
the college directly.
at the end of the presentation, we'll talk about how people can contact you and also your social media accounts, how we can also be, because you're also active like in LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. So there are many ways to reach out to you.
Very much. Thank
Uh-huh.
you. Yes. Yeah, so this is one. And this is what we talked about. The Kabbalah seminar in Watkins College this year from Friday until Sunday, the 26th until the 28th. And you can all find this information in much more detail on the Hawkwood College website. And if you have more to ask, then please email me. This is my general email. You can email not just about questions about Hawkwood, but about anything. And but direct bookings always to Hawkwood College.
Perfect.
So yeah. And well, this is another one directly to do with the Paths on the Tree of Wisdom. Also in London, a book launch or presentation next month on the 8th of March on a Friday evening. That is from 7 in the evening until 9:30-ish. It's going to be a very informal book launch. You can see there the Atlantis Bookshop. So they have another space where
Yeah.
these things are being held. So there will be plenty of time to ask questions or just to have an informal conversation with each other with a little snack and a drink and everything. So really looking forward to this one as well.
It looks like a
Yeah,
very cozy place, and it's nice to have such spaces opening up to you so that you can share not only your books but everything that you want to
very much.
teach, and available for the people who live in the UK. So
Yes.
that's really good. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
sure if this is the last one. I know there's still another one. You're gonna be super active this year, Mike. That this is a good year for
Yeah,
you.
yeah. This is only the UK. I mean, there's much more to do, also in Holland, but
Yeah,
we can only show so much. So this
yeah,
is uh, again the Library of Avalon on the 9th of March. So that's the next day after Atlantis in Glastonbury, in that little place. And it will be a kind of a similar thing to the Atlantis book launch, but then in Glastonbury. So
perfect.
everyone is welcome. But I have to say, I am organizing this myself with the people of the library. So I also keep track of the bookings, and it is almost full. So if someone wants to join, be quick because it can only keep so many people.
Limited. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
limited
that's
exactly.
very nice to see all of these different options. No, like where can you go if you want to have your book buy it directly and have Mike sign it for you, and also get to know about you directly and your teachings within the book.
Yeah,
And I think that yeah, so
we
this
are
is the end
there.
of yes, the end of the
So
presentation. Yeah,
I would like to emphasize that this new book is really not just Toledano Kabbalah. My
no,
influence, of course, and Toledano Kabbalah is very much in there. But Watkins asked me to write a general outline of Kabbalah, so also its history, its
yes,
background, and the different influences, so that people have an idea about the different streams like Hermetic Kabbalah, Christian Kabbalah, and like Toledano Kabbalah, and also a few other strands or lineages that I haven't mentioned here in the presentation.
yes.
So just to make that clear, it is a general outline of the Kabbalah, but of course, I can't prevent it that it has my influence in it.
Of course.
Um, and therefore, there is a lot of Toledano Kabbalah in it as well. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a very practical book. And as you said at the beginning, and I can attest to that, it's good for somebody who has no idea about Kabbalah, what is it, but also those of us who already know a little bit, or those who know a lot. they can find it's like a very nice like summary of
Yeah.
how Kabbalah came about, what Kabbalah is about, and how we can apply Kabbalah to our daily lives. Because sometimes people want to be having they want to have a spiritual practice, but you're so busy with everyday life that it's like, "Ah, I don't have time to sit down and meditate 1 hour a day, no?" So you have very, very practical exercises and meditations that take only a few minutes, and they're very simple, but at the same time they're very powerful. And that's what I really appreciate about your teachings in general, your books obviously, is that it's very practical, to the point, but very powerful. So so definitely that's
Thank you.
a plus that your book has. So Synchronauts, you know how you can now order yours. If you live in the UK, now you know all of the different activities that Mike will be involved in, and well, and there's more to come surely in this Gregorian year. It's looking good for you this year. That's excellent, dear Mike. And so, can you tell us how people can reach out to you? What are your social media accounts, please?
Yeah. So first of all, my email address most directly is mikebais@rocketmail.com, all in small letters. Then my websites. The first is www.circleofavalon.nl of the Netherlands, this one, but it's all in English. Don't worry about it.
It is.
And the other one is Kabbalah Mystical School, all one word written together.com, which is only about the Kabbalah teachings.
All right.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. So for information or contact me directly with any questions.
And also you have your page on Facebook and also on Instagram, where you're sharing a lot of things.
Yes.
So if you want to know what's up, go check Mike's different outlets of information, or if directly, as you say, if somebody has a question, then they can write to you directly an email. So well, I'm really, really happy to see that the baby is here, that this amazing jewel is out there, and I know a lot of people will benefit from that. So congratulations on this, Mike. And we will continue with our programs shortly. We'll continue with the Avalon theme, right? That's where we're at right now.
Very much. I would love it. And maybe also nice to say is that a few years ago, I was really into my third book after the Kabbalah and Science books, which was Kabbalah and the Round Table, our current theme in this whole podcast series. And then I got this offer to write a book for Watkins. So I put that manuscript in the fridge for a while. It's well preserved, by the way, in its little cryo sleep. But I'm really looking forward, when everything is a bit settled down after this book, to start picking up the pen and to start writing that, or actually editing that book, because it's well on its way. Yeah.
Yes, like this is really interesting, because the reason why I contacted you originally was because of the round table. And we've done everything but work with the round table. And I remember you told me about this book, and I'm like, I want to read the book. I want to read that book. And yes, all of these other things came before. But it's good that you're going to bring us that knowledge, because it's like so interesting to see the convergence. No, things that you say they're not connected, but they are. And see it with a Kabbalistic eye, it's like, it's amazing. So thank you so much, dear Mike. Thank you, Synchronauts. So you know how to contact Mike, and we'll see each other very soon. So take care and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.